Fergie. There we go. Hello, everyone. Just setting up on multiple
Let me,
platforms. Oh, yeah, maybe if you can mute.
yeah, let me put headphones or something. Might help here,
Cool.
so we don't get any echoes. I hope. So, oops.
So, people here, we're setting up on Instagram. People on Instagram, we're making sure we're ready on the other platforms: LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, I think I will listen through Instagram since I can't turn the sound off. So,
Okay,
should be
cool.
good. Yeah.
All right, welcome everyone, whoever is listening right now. Hi, Rebecca.
Hey, how you doing? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time indeed. Thank you for joining this first kind of session. We're trying. I can't hear echo. Um, oh,
Are you hearing me on both?
I hear you. I hear myself actually when I talk.
Nope. Okay. Hold on. Let me. The joys of
Do you hear
technology.
myself?
Oops. Let me mute my. You're probably hearing yourself out of Instagram because I cannot turn that off. So, and of course, I need my Bluetooth headphones.
Tech check. This happens because obviously Instagram doesn't allow us to stream live with other platforms. So, hello
Okay.
everyone. You'll be between here and here. So,
Okay, I can hear you through here now. So,
cool.
no
And
more
I
echo,
can
I
hear
hope.
myself.
Perfect.
Good.
All right, we
Perfect.
got a
Can
good
you hear
combination.
yourself?
No, no.
Cool. Perfect. Solved. There we go. Now we can get started. Um, so the idea of this session, actually, Rebecca and I spoke a few months ago, quite a while ago actually, and we said we're gonna do a live just because we worked in the same consulting firm. So it was a big four, and I'm based out of Milan. She's based out of London. Um, I saw some pictures while scrolling, looking for some other pictures. I think that was in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and we had some questions based on, UX, product design, design thinking, and stuff like that from Jay, who sent me DMs asking about, how he can, he wants to pursue a master's or something like that, his studies, and in which direction to go and so on. And I thought, yeah, that's a perfect way not only to talk about designers in consulting, but also talk about, UX, product design in consulting. What does that mean? What to study and all of that. So it's just a basic conversation, nothing really prepared, off the cuff, based on our own experiences, hoping that this would help. So, yeah, Rebecca, do you want to also introduce yourself and why you're here today?
Sure. So, hi everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Rebecca, but I go by Fergie on most of my social platforms. I'm a UX designer. I have been doing UX for 11 years now, so a very long time. And as Maria said, we used to work together in Big Four Consulting. If you know and have heard me talk about this before, you'll know which firm, but we won't name drop any names today. We'll keep that out of the picture. They're all samey. So, it doesn't really matter. This is not just a chat about the one firm. It's about more generalized because we've both since worked in consulting quite broadly, quite generally with design. And I think it's a really exciting topic to talk about, actually, because design is very different in different areas and different industries. Design is different in consulting compared to in agency life, compared to being in-house. They're all very different, different experiences. So,
Yeah, so we're
yeah.
gonna share, I think, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mhm.
It's a bit of everything. Yeah, let's maybe we kick off with this. So just to put it in perspective, you're a UX UI designer. I'm more into strategy service, but a lot also involved in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, from launching a tech company to, how to scale and raise funds and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a nice combination, because the topic of designers, entrepreneurs is also a big topic, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it's a startup. It can just be, an agency or whatever, a studio. So first, why did you leave consulting?
Oh, I'm still in consulting.
No, I mean
I
big
left
four. Big
that one.
four. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's everybody gets drawn into Big Four. Like I see a lot of posts online from graduates applying to all of the big firms, right? Because you really want to land a job when you graduate. I had a different journey. So I had graduated years before joining big consulting and worked in a small agency. I then moved and worked in-house in the financial industry. And then I moved into consulting because I wanted more variety in the type of work that I was doing and the clients I was working for. So to me, that was the exciting thing. It still is the exciting thing. Um, and controversially, I didn't join one of the big four because it was a big four. I just joined because I was headhunted. And I thought, well, it's a good opportunity. But I left because the culture can be kind of toxic. You work really hard, really crazy hours all over the place. You have great times, but then, you equally have the bad times. Like we said, we're going to share the good, the bad, the ugly. And I left because I had decided, you know what, I want different opportunities. I want to work for a different company that really understands design a bit more. I don't think there's loads of companies that have design nailed unless it's a creative agency, it's like in particular. But I had left because I was moving to another firm that I believe had just a better understanding of tech, of design, of how it worked in together. I wasn't going to have to necessarily teach the company, well, this is what we do as designers. This is how you could sell us as a designer. This is why you shouldn't just sell an engineering project without design and think about it afterwards when something goes wrong. Yeah, that's kind of the long story version of it.
yeah. No, I relate to that. I mean, for me, consulting, big four consulting. The interesting thing is, and I'm sure it's your case as well. You said you got headhunted. I'm sure you also got headhunted for another big four consulting, so on. But it's some people might say, why did you say no? But as you said, you're not gonna leave a firm just to go to another one, because you're gonna have similar patterns, I guess, everywhere. So
Mm,
I mean, if you want to grow and be in that field, and then it's great. But if you want to do other stuff, you have other avenues. For me, it's like I saw that there's a lot of potential that is missed or not
yeah.
leveraged, um, especially when we talk about, social, environmental impact, talking about people, like people, not profit, like
Right.
yours. I mean, both, but, at least balance it out. And that was for me the main thing, actually. And, it kind of tends to be repetitive, lots of slide decks and so on. And for me, that's one of the things I don't do. I do not do slide decks, it's like,
Say it louder for people in the back. We do not do slide decks.
yeah, so now even if I want to try to sell a project or something, it's not slide decks that I'm gonna sell this. Or I can see, hello, everyone, we're in between Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and you name it here. um, so that's really to set the scene. But let's go a little bit to design, because we want these sessions to be really valuable for everyone who's listening. Feel free to fire questions away, or your experiences, feedback, whatever. Let's answer a bit some of the questions that Jay had, which are, as a user experience designer, how to get into design thinking. I'm just going to put them all together, because I personally find it difficult to give one answer. Like, okay, what's product design? What's UX design? It really depends on where you're going to be working, like in that sense, what kind of
Mhm.
projects. Is digital product design and user experience design the same thing? Is user experience design related to digital product design? and the difference between both roles, really. So, how do you, you know, I think we can talk about language here. We can't really give a
Mm.
definition.
Yeah, I think product design is the new term. That's the cool name to put onto everything and call yourself a product designer. Um, like you mentioned, it does really depend on the company, because some companies you would be called a UX designer, some you might be called a product designer, some you might be called a digital designer. At the end of the day, it is just a job title. And as long as you're in a role doing the work that you enjoy doing, then it doesn't really matter what they want to call you. That's my ethos. Um, but when it comes to differences, if you want to be a little bit more specific about it, there are some differences between the role titles. There should be, usually. So obviously you have UX UI designers. Hopefully everybody knows the difference there. UI designers are more visual. UX designers are about the experience. You're going to do your wireframing and all of that, problem solving, right? Whereas product designers are a UX designer and also a little bit of a product manager. So you're doing a lot more of the stakeholder management, of the kind of strategy and vision work as well. Now, you might already do all of these in one and not know that this is the title that fits you best. Um, but yeah, company to company really varies. So I wouldn't get too hung up on, like you said, the language of all of this. I would look more at the details when you're wanting to get into that sort of role in a company. Look at the spec, really go through it. What are they expecting you to do? And is that what you want to do? Um, and the things that includes, mentioned like the wireframing and doing all the design work from a product design and product manager perspective. It's those things like visioning, strategy, working really closely with product owners, um, just being a bigger part of the team, not just being siloed by yourself or with only designers. You're working with a broader group of disciplines.
Yeah, and that's I want to add to this. So today it's mainly wireframing, but as things evolve, it's gonna be more of voice. It's gonna be more
Mm,
than the watch. It's gonna be more wearables, IoT, all those kind of things that are already there, but maybe more in the startup world, not in typical consulting or less. I'm sure this trend was like the chatbots a few years ago. Like for like
mm,
6 months, everyone wanted to do a chatbot, and now no one talks about it.
yep.
So we do those things, right?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and my I graduated also as a product designer, but it has had nothing to do with digital. It was really form, function, shapes, actions. You had the whole user experience around it, but it wasn't even called user experience. So it was physical products, and now it has evolved. So it really depends, and you know. I also teach in that sense in like design related master's degrees and business. And students are like, yeah, but if we studied this, what can we work in? It really depends again, because we have people who haven't studied design who work in design in that sense. We're not saying here anything new or innovative. It's just the reality of things, and not to be stuck with degrees and words and names and titles. I think this is an important one to highlight. What did you study originally, actually?
I studied graphic and digital design, so I knew I was going into the design space. Um, I had done design and IT, not like computer science, just like A-level kind of IT and businessy stuff. So I had a little bit of web background, was kind of playing with making websites at that time. Um, and whilst I was at uni, the iPhone became a thing. That came out, the first iPhone. And that's where, we also, touch phones. Let me just clarify this for anyone. Touch phones existed before the iPhone. Let's not pretend like Apple invented this. In fact, I have a drawer with some really old phones in, and one of them is a Samsung Toco. Now, this thing is like the size of a credit card. You can fit it in the palm of your hand, and it's a tiny little touchscreen phone. So let's not pretend that Apple invented this. And I thought, that's kind of cool, to be touching on the screen. And at that point, I was like, maybe more things are going to go this way. We've always thought that we're going to be living in this very like augmented way, that's always kind of the vision of the future. And I think we're so much closer to that now than ever before. And that's been the vision since like the 80s, the 70s. Like everyone's always thought like that's what the future looks like.
Star Trek.
Right? Yeah. And I thought, you know what? That's an exciting space. I started looking into what is app design whilst I studied. I did a couple of projects because there was an opportunity and never looked back, stayed in that kind of UX space doing apps and websites. And yeah, here I am.
Cool. Yeah, and going back to something you were mentioning, actually, we discussed earlier. You know, also it's about the definition of yourself going to the language and what you do. When I also first graduated, right, I had this. I went to a fair and I had my CVs there, right? I took them with me and started giving them away. And someone actually took the time to look at it and it's like, so you're a graphic designer. I'm like, no, I'm a product designer. Yes, you're a graphic designer. No, no, I'm a product designer. Yes, so it's graphic design, right? I said, no, it's more, about products that you touch and feel and look and you create something for people to touch. It's not just graphic like that you can print or digital. Yeah, so it's graphic design. Like, yes, it is. That was my thing. Like, you're right next, because sometimes listening is important also. So that's is a story to tell, but I think again it depends on one can't if you just started working you can just say this is what I'm gonna do after because you will discover things maybe you didn't know about. Maybe you will discover that you want to be more on the business side of things rather than the design side of things, or you want to go into the technical side of things. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't actually limit and try to respond to the question of what you want to do or what you want to study. And if you want to study, because you can study a lot online too today, to limiting yourself, because I never thought I would end up working in consulting. Never. It had never crossed my mind. I had no clue about it. I didn't even know it existed. So
Exactly.
you can relate to that one.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, before I went into the world of app and web design, I thought I would be an actual graphic designer. And I was like, yeah, the dream. I'm going to work at Vogue magazine and do graphic design stuff at an editorial at Vogue. No, that quickly changed. I was like, no, I like tech. I like gadgets and stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of you fall. I think you find what you like, and you quite naturally fall into those spaces. And then, like you say, as things progress and as you learn more, you learn about things that you didn't know even existed before. So all this time I've been a UX designer and a web and mobile. AR and VR has been around for a while again. It's not just brand new, but that's a much bigger space now than it used to be. So maybe I'm going to become an XR designer instead of calling myself a UX designer. It's it's
Or
a it's a very what right? Possibilities are endless. Don't I don't think we need to necessarily restrict ourselves into these boxes all the time, you know? But
But that's how we met, actually. We were working on a kind of a VR project or something like that, right?
yeah.
Egypt, right? And the
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I want to see also if someone is just getting started in UX. Let's go back a little bit. Treks and has been working for like 6 months or something like that. What do you like? How do you tell them to get started on projects? Because we often have people who are not confident. I don't know everything and so on, and it's normal. And they hired me for a reason. They're not expecting you to be a pro at everything. So how to navigate this workspace in terms of work, like UX work, UX UI, like what you
Mhm. I
do.
think the first 6 months is it's such a, like, critical time because you feel like you have to perform and show that you, I don't know, deserve the role and that you're right for the role. There's depending on where you are, you might be going through some probationary things. So the business also needs to make sure that you're fitting in the role. But I think the most important thing that anyone can do um, is understand the business, understand what does the business know right now about UX design? Do they just think it's graphic design, right? Find out what do they think UX design mean? What do they think that involves? What are they expecting me to do as their UX designer? And address that. And where you think that anything is kind of misaligned, then have those conversations with the right people. Be like, okay, well, you've hired me as a UX designer. I do these things. You also want me to do this thing, whether that's in your skill set or not. You bring that up and say, well, that's not really UX, so that shouldn't really be put on my plate. That should be, elsewhere, wherever you think it should be. Don't be scared of those conversations, because I think when we're new, especially when we're junior and when you don't want to say no to anything. You say yes to everything, and even when you know it's not really the right thing, because you've said yes to doing something, and then you're sat there like, okay, now how do I do this? Can I actually do this? How am I going to do this? Don't put yourself through it. Honestly, looking back, I wish I hadn't done that uh, as much. I wish I'd had those really open conversations about what design is and isn't, what it does and doesn't involve. Um,
Yeah, I think it's easier said than done. And we now reflecting back, for sure, totally. You just say no. You say I don't know. Just ask.
yeah.
Genuinely ask. But it's difficult. Sometimes you learn from your own mistakes, and I think we've all done this. But that's
Mm.
good advice, just to ask. Um, I want to ask you because I just noticed something in your background. What is this pillow? You have an XD pillow.
Oh, my little XD cushion. Yeah, that's my little art wall with all my bright, colorful things. Because London is very grey, so gotta make the day colorful somehow. Yeah, it's my little XD pillow because I'm an Adobe XD ambassador. I've been doing that for a couple of years, so yeah, that's why I have a little cushion.
Okay, so yeah, anyone who wants to jump into XD, you're very active. You do lots of videos, right? You do some collaborations as well.
Yeah, I do lots of things on YouTube, so you can find me if you just search "Design with Fergie." You'll find my channel. I do a lot of tutorials. Also on Instagram at Fergie Design, Fergie.design. Sorry, um, post a lot of content about design, all the different things involved, as well as a few little software-based things as well. So if you want to know more, feel free to reach out. Happy to answer questions. I do one-on-one like mentoring sessions, but also like live tutorial sessions as well. So if anybody wants me to like teach them something specific, let me know. Can do that.
Cool. And what is the most exciting thing you do, like in general in your activity in your day-to-day job? What is it that you enjoy the most? I know you like research.
What do I enjoy most in my day-to-day job? That's a hard question. I think because I love the whole design process, it's always hard to pick the one thing. Like I'm a big believer in doing the research. You'll see a lot of my posts where I talk about, don't let the client get away with not doing the research, because that's how you end up with potentially the wrong product. But I do love doing the design work, like the wireframing and prototyping, like bringing that to life, like creating the vision that the business or somebody has had in their mind, or the vision that I've had in my mind, but maybe people in the business don't see the same thing, because not everybody has the same imagination, especially if they don't know how the tech works, or if they're not as tech savvy. I really enjoy that part. That for me is really satisfying. Hence the XD ambassador thing.
Yeah, but that's an interesting answer, because there's another aspect to it, especially going back to consulting. As you grow, however, you get to higher positions and so on, the tendency might be to become more of a manager. So you do kind of admin stuff, operations, whatever, and less design work. And you clearly enjoy doing design work. So how do you balance this out? And what do
Yeah.
you suggest, for people who just got started, but eventually that would grow as well?
Mhm. So that is a big one where um, if you're somewhere like big consulting, you will get trapped and stuck in the managerial, and you will eventually lose the craft, which I could see coming as I was getting more senior, and I was at the point of needing to become manager. I was at that stage of going for this sort of promotion. I was like, you know what, I don't want to be a consulting manager and just manage who's doing what and be like managing resources, because people are resources in consulting, which is not, again, it's not very wholesome. It's not a nice, I don't like the term, calling a person a resource. Um, so I switched companies. I found a firm whereby I can be a manager and I can still be a practitioner. So every day I'm doing design work, and I get asked this a lot actually. People are always like, "Oh, so you're the manager. Do you actually get to do design work?" I'm like, yes. Yes, I have a lot of meetings I have to attend. Yes, there are teams that I look after, or teams that I build, or hiring efforts that I need to be involved in and doing interviews. But I also get to do my craft and do those things. And that for me is where a lot of the satisfaction comes from. So if you're wanting to not get stuck in really business admin things, I think that is very strongly coupled to the company and to the business, and what comes down to that role expectation. So you've got to find the company that will let you progress through seniority and still let you practice the craft if that is what you want to do. And it's possible. There's plenty of places out there.
Yeah, and you're doing it actually,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you would go elsewhere if you can do it because that's what you want to do. It's always good to be hands on. I guess that's, I think, a good answer, because at the end of the day, not everyone should become a manager, and just, some people do like enjoy design. Like, uh, there's nothing more rewarding, I guess, than seeing. I've done spaces also, so when you see something you created to life, people are using it or reading it or walking through it. I think this is great recognition also, beyond words in that
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Uh,
I'd agree.
Cool. And I don't know if there's anything to add, because I wanna, that's the first kind of a series I wanna do, but I like to talk to people, to like-minded individuals like you. I'm really glad like we had this chat. As you know, all it's unstructured. It's really off the cuff uh, here. If someone watches, I know like it's the time of the day where everyone's working probably, but if anyone watches this and you have any comments, feedback, whatever, just put it out there. And you can also reach out to Fergie. I'm gonna call you Fergie because I didn't know if I was gonna call you Rebecca or Fergie, but I know
It's
Rebecca.
okay. Yeah, exactly. It's okay. It's
Cool.
always funny when people online know me as Fergie. They're like, "Wait, that's not your real name?" I'm like, "No, it's a nickname. It's half my name."
Because there's a singer who was called Fergie, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember what she sings, but yeah, cool. I'm just gonna show on Instagram that my background is not that awful. Like that's what I see here, because here there's nothing here. Uh, so yeah, cool. No, thank you so much for this. And I think you're gonna be on holiday soon. Oh, I can see some people commenting. So, ah, Jay, I hope we answered your questions. Let us know in the chat, because I can see that, and I can see Jody as well, who made a comment. So before we leave, just let us know, Jitin, how was this? And hopefully that was helpful also for your
Yeah,
next steps.
yeah. I mean, if there's any more questions, let us know.
Yeah, yeah. So Jitin's on LinkedIn, but if he pings me later on Instagram, I will let you know. Cool. Thank you. And yeah, have a splendid long holiday, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Been a long time coming, so it's been good to catch up. Good to chat.
Yeah, same here. Take care.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.